So using a box, I found a toothpaste box a really good shape to use, but you can use any kind of box that you like. Open it up and carefully, quite delicately, break that seam. So if you can, just prise it apart. Like I say, it is quite delicate. They've glued it together quite well, so you might need a little bit of prizing, but try not to rip it. And then just fold it out so it's nice and easy to draw on. Now my first building that I'm going to do is one of Venice. I really loved these buildings, and what I found fascinating is that actually the doors aren't right at the bottom of the house because they're obviously on a canal. So and the ground floor of these buildings are completely empty. There's no furniture in case there's flooding. You don't want anything to get ruined. So nothing starts on that ground floor. So just really carefully put those markings in. Mark out the windows, the doors, any interesting shapes. My next building is Big Ben, something that we all know. And again, the top of this one was quite difficult, so I really just simplified it to make it work for this creation. So nice and lightly there, get all those shapes in, not worrying too much about what the time is there. Just mainly focusing on all those round shapes, those square shapes, the different brickwork. Nice sharp pencil is advisable for this to get nice crisp lines. This is a building from my trip when I went to Amsterdam. Again, these buildings are similar in height to the ones in Venice, but they're all quite close together. And these actually have like a hoist, if you look carefully, right at the top. So to get the furniture in, they hoist it up right to the top, and then they can bring it into the windows. And finally, I'm from Southampton, so my last choice of building is the clock tower in Southampton. I thought it would be nice to do something that kind of speaks about where I'm from. So again, if you need to, simplify some of those shapes if it makes it easier for you, and just mark out where all those lines are, where everything starts. Now I'm going to go over with it in a simple handwriting biro. Any pen is fine, just be careful because it does smudge a little bit. So go over all those lines that you've drawn already in pencil. I put a bit of mark making in here to help it make it look a little bit more 3D, to give it a bit more depth. So you could do some cross hatching, perhaps some stippling, which is like lots of little dots. And this just helps with the push and pull really of the image. And another one is the weight of line. So as you can see around the windows, some marks are a bit darker. I've pushed a bit heavier with my pen, whereas other times I've pushed much lighter. And this is really good for windows because the actual glass, it helps show some reflection, but also shows that it's further away, you can see through it, whereas the window frame is perhaps a bit darker. You'll notice that I'm not using a ruler for any of these lines, and I think that's quite important because you don't want it to look too rigid. You want the lines to flow, you want that quality of line to be quite strong, and you only get that through freehand drawing. And here I'm just going over adding a little bit of detail where perhaps that bit's a bit plain, drawing in some of the bricks. And you can add as much or as little detail as you wish. You can add colour if you wish. I haven't, but you could easily paint this, go in with some coloured pens or pencil, completely up to you. So now really carefully with a pair of scissors, you just need to cut out the shapes of the roofs. Now be really delicate with this and try not to cut on the line. Then fold the opposite way on the seam that's already there on your box. And this is the only time I'm going to use a ruler, just to divide the buildings up, to make it really clear where one building starts and another one stops. And if you've done the same building on all your sides, I would still do this because it just helps gives it a little bit more definition, helps it stand out. So then fold it up, and on that little edge where you unpicked it to begin with, I'm going to put some more glue on there, but obviously this time it's on the reverse, and stick it together. And you can see how now this is beginning to form your 3D box. So apply a bit of pressure and then just trim that last little bit on the top there. Now we're going to make a stand for this, so it's freestanding. I've just drawn around a bit of sellotape. I'm going to cut this circle out, and this is going to be the base for my 3D building. You can see I've used some lovely Cheerios, which are no longer in use. So make sure you stick down on the grey side, you don't want the Cheerio side. And fold them all in and place them down on your stand. Now it's quite tall, this one, I can't apply pressure properly, so I'm just going to get like a little pen, you can see it like wobbles there. Pen or pencil, and just push in, that means you're just going to help it just to stick properly to that base. And the final touch, just to make it look a bit smarter, is with a pen. I'm just going to colour inside the top of the buildings black, so you can't see that Cheerio box. And there you have it, your building. You can put whatever design you want, go wild and have fun.